After autocratic, our next management style is persuasive, and it is so similar to autocratic, we really don't need to remember two different things. We can basically remember everything the same with just a couple of very small little differences. So the first difference is with the communication. So with an autocrat, we said that's someone who tells you what to do. Well, with a persuasive, the manager tells employees what to do, but then they sell the employees on the reasoning behind a decision. So just like an autocrat, the boss is telling the workers what to do, but they say, here's why you should do it. However, they're not asking for any input. They're just selling you on the decision that they've already made. So the orientation is still task focused. We're still placing a great importance on achieving goals and maximizing efficiency at the expense of everything else, which is identical to autocratic. The motivation is also the same. The manager motivates with extrinsic motivation, which is rewards and punishments for good and bad performance. Decision making, the same, however slight difference. We're going to say like autocratic, it is centralized. The manager will make all the decisions, just like they did with autocratic. However, they sell the employee on the benefits of that decision for the employee. Like what's in it for you is what the manager says to an employee. Here's how you're going to benefit from this. The authority, so there's still no delegation, just like with autocratic. The manager does not delegate important tasks and maintains total authority, and the control is the same as it is with autocratic, which is total. The manager maintains complete control over the team members' daily activities and job performance. So we could summarize what a persuasive style looks like through our COMDAC variables. Here's the manager and here's the employees. For each of these sentences, we would say this: do what I tell you, so exact same as autocratic. Do what I tell you, get the job done by 5 to achieve your target. If you get it done, there's a $100 bonus or a $200 fine. I'll make all the decisions. I'll do all the important tasks, and I want to know what you're doing and how you're doing it. However, we'll just swap a couple of little things. We'll say with this first one, it's not do what I tell you, it is do what I tell you, but here's why you should do it, as in they're selling it to the employees. And lastly, instead of the orientation being get the job done by 5 to achieve your target, it should be like get the job done by 5 to achieve your target, but you should do it because it's important for the business and for you too. And with the decision making, we'll just change a little bit. Instead of I'll make all the decisions, we'll change it to I'll make all the decisions, but here's why I made them, which is selling it. So we also need to know when to use it, and it's going to be the same as autocratic. Use it when employees are new or unskilled and they just need to follow directions. Also, when employees are self-motivated, they might not care about the job or they don't have any leadership and they need direction. Use it when employees don't have valuable insights into their roles. They're just people there to perform a task. They're not really there to think. And there's a lot of jobs like that. They just need someone to either be an autocrat or persuasive. Sell them on what to do. Like autocratic, it's really good to use when there's swift action with a set deadline and when there's a lack of leadership within the team. It's also good for dangerous tasks, just like with autocratic, because people are given clear instructions to follow explicitly. There's no room for debate. There's no way to do your own thing. You just follow what I do, and here's why you should do it. And lastly, it's good for difficult decisions. Like if you had to fire someone, this is probably a little bit better than autocratic because you're saying, you're fired, that's my decision. That's what an autocrat says. But persuasive, you're going to sell it to them and say, look, the reasons are this. I'm really sorry, but here's the reasons why we had to terminate you or discipline you or downsize the business, so on. So McDonald's is a good one, especially for young people. They often work at McDonald's with an older manager and they sell them on what to do each shift, like you have to get it done. Also at the top level of business CEOs have to make really tough decisions and there's just no other way around it. Sometimes you can't share decision-making responsibility. You've got to do it all yourself and then you've got to sell it to the rest of the business. Principal as well. So that's the one from Saved by the Bell on TV. But the point is, principals have to make tough decisions at schools all the time, particularly with like disciplining people, right? But maybe you don't want autocratic where someone just tells you what to do. You want someone who's going to sell you on why they've decided a particular course of action. And lastly, what are the advantages and disadvantages of this style? Well, we're going to keep a lot of the same ones as we did for autocratic. So it allows for fast decisions because only the manager has input. It's suitable for urgent, high-risk or difficult decisions, e.g. disciplining or terminating someone, because it's autocratic, but it's got a bit more of a human face to it because you are selling them on your decision. Team members are clear on what they have to do, their roles, responsibilities and expectations, because they're just given very clear instructions. And lastly, we could say it's not going to create a lot of motivation, but it's going to create a little bit more motivation than an autocratic style would, because the manager sells people on the decision's benefits. What are the drawbacks? Again, it's going to be similar to autocratic, but we can say it discourages teamwork because the employee opinions and input are not sought or considered. Employees just obey orders, so all the important stuff's being done just by one person, which is the manager. And like autocratic, it ignores employee feedback, so while sold on the decision, employees have no input into it, which overlooks their insights. It creates low employee motivation. So we said over here it creates slightly more than autocratic, but overall it actually is pretty low motivating because team members don't feel valued because they're not listened to. So there's going to be low morale and high staff turnover. And lastly, low decision acceptance. Team members may not accept or agree with the decision they do not have input into, even though you're selling them on it. They didn't get to have a say, and generally that leads to low acceptance of the manager's decision.